Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ohio State Primetime on Ohio State at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy, here to bring you something that I thought would be fun to bring to you guys. Hopefully, you love for you to interact with this and give you the five most important stats for the Ohio State Notre Dame game, specifically what will help Ohio State win this game and hopefully comfortably. Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel would definitely help. We're closing down on 9,000. So if you have some friends or family, please reach out to them, have them submit, have them watch. If you like the channel, please do so. Also, if you would like, if you want your comments skip ahead, super chats are always loved. I would really appreciate if you did that, and they're definitely helpful to the channel. And also, be sure to come in on Thursday for the call-in show. We would definitely love to have you guys there. Definitely love to hear what you have to say. Us too. We talk on Monday for you guys, and me personally, I have my other show on the Scarlet and Blue show. If you haven't checked that out, but I do a lot of talking throughout the week. Enough talking. Eventually, I get tired of hearing myself. So, I'd love to hear you guys join the channel and hear what you guys have to say about our Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, let's get to it. So, stat number one of the game could be on Notre Dame in the third quarter. So, Ohio State, as we all know, is the best team in the country in the third quarter. They give up less during the regular season. They give up less than a point at 0.9 for third quarter in the season and scored almost around 10. Great second half team, but specifically the third quarter Ohio State has been. So Notre Dame is actually number 6 in third quarter scoring on offense, and they're also second in defense. I think that's huge. Specifically for Notre Dame, but if Ohio State's able to continue to have the success that they have had in the third quarter, now they did not have that against Texas. They did not, and that it showed. And thankfully, we got out of that game with a win by some big plays. Shout out to Captain Jack Sawyer. But if Ohio State is able to continue to have this success in the third quarter, they're able to stop Notre Dame right out the gate. I was just in a space with the Best Day Media guys with Cam and Mike, and one Notre Dame fan said that in the first 3 minutes of the last 3 minutes of the second half and the first 3 minutes of the third quarter, if they're able to score and get down the field, then they're going to have some success. I would tend to agree with that also. I really would. Again, if Ohio State's able to take care of that third quarter, I think it'll all be said and done. Number 2, Notre Dame versus the gap run scheme. So this is actually one of my favorite stats that I found out. So Notre Dame, and this is per PFF, so shout out to them. Notre Dame is 75th in the country versus the gap run scheme, give it 5.5 per carry. And then they also give a 3.4 for runs after contact, which has a lot to say about their tackling. And if that's the case, that probably means, with the 5.5, just to let you know by itself, teams when they run are getting to the second level and to the third level, probably after the 3.4 after contact against Notre Dame. The teams are essentially averaging almost 9 yards to carry in gap game on Notre Dame. That's insane. That's actually a wild stat. Now, and just if Ohio State can run the ball how they want to, I think we'll all agree Ohio State has not been able to run the ball at the consistent and high level that we all have all wanted to, as I'm sure they wanted to. Last week against Texas, we had, I think, Travion had 6 carries. Judkins had 9. I know they had 15 or less. But that didn't have much to do with the run game network. That had more to do with stupid penalties, putting us in very bad situations at second and third and long, maybe sometimes even first and long. Just how the game rolls. But you see Notre Dame's game against Penn State. And Penn State was able to run the ball on them at will. If that's the case, man, you got to think, well, how he's going to try and run that ball and gap. Now, Penn State runs the zone. Again, shout out to my guy Cam, Truth on X. They were asking him about it. He brought up how Ohio State doesn't need to go into zone. Penn State's offensive line is better and has more cohesion with each other, and that's what they do. That's not what Ohio State does right now. And so when you have guys, and the offensive line has a lot of confidence going right now. I think if you get those guys moving, you get them moving forward, that is where you take advantage of the Notre Dame run defense. And even more so, this is probably a Quinshon Judkins game. Again, you never know how certain games are going to turn out. Things can always change. But when we have this many games, we have this much data, I'm going to roll with it. Again, I also do believe in analytics, but this is important stuff to me. If you go against a team who in gap scheme, which is head-on-head blocking, if you see that, and whoa. Was my mic off? Here, let me do this real quick then. Hold up a second for everybody.
Roger Harbaugh, you're in there. Can you let me know if you can hear? I just want to make sure. I just got a text from TJ Ronan, and then I saw your message. So he said my mic was off, and I see Rod. You said it's a little staticky. Okay, cool. Then we're gonna roll with that then. Okay, we're gonna roll with that. Jeez, what happened? But yeah. Again, and thank you, Rod. I appreciate you, brother, for being here and helping me out there. If we're able, I'm sorry, I was talking about Quinshon Judkins. Thank you. So Quinshon Judkins, if a team is allowing 5.5 in a gap scheme where you're putting heads on a helmet, and I think that's where Quinshon really thrives when he just has a run downhill, and then you're giving up basically 3.5 after contact. I think it's a game for a guy like Judkins. And then when the time comes, you got to bring Travion in he's gonna play. Dude, I think you tire them down. You hit them with the dasher, man. You hit them with the guy who's gonna get to the house. I think that's exactly how this game goes for him. All right, thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Sound like you're on speakerphone. Now I have my Bluetooth headset, and my headset worked out well yesterday. Surprised it's not right now, but no, I appreciate you, man. So now we're gonna go to number 3, and that is Will Howard versus man coverage, and that's the man coverage of Notre Dame. Now, I would expect Notre Dame to run some more zone because that is the way you play Ohio State. That is essentially the only way you can keep Jeremiah Smith out of the game, or at least limit him in the game. But you will always revert to what you do, because that's what you're comfortable with. Will Howard is the number 2 quarterback versus man coverage this season in college ball. 134 quarterbacks out there that started for their team, maybe more because based on whoever played, and how many their snap count. But Will Howard, for all intents and purposes, is the second best quarterback in the nation against man coverage. That's right behind Jackson Dart of Ole Miss. Look, this is where the game is going to be decided, I believe. I mean, we can always say the trenches, we can always say coaching. But right here, you're talking about strength against strength, and that's the Ohio State passing game and the wide receivers versus the Ohio State versus the Notre Dame secondary. This with Xavier, Xavier Watts, Sherler, Gray. I think Gray is dear meat. Notre Dame fans disagree with me. I think that's what he is, but I look at the USC game they played. Excuse me while I drink some tea. I watched the USC game yesterday. almost entirety. Now, it wasn't as if USC was just passing the ball late because they had to get in the game. They were in the game. They were in there throughout the game. That's just how their offense was going. They're also able to run the ball in that game. But the reason I only cared to watch that game was because that's the only offense that's going to have some type of similarities with Ohio State. Georgia's not going to have that. They can't catch a ball. The quarterback right now is terrible. He can't throw the ball really, even though he didn't play that bad. But he wouldn't be the quarterback at Ohio State. Penn State, as we all know, doesn't have any wide receivers. They have paper clips and toothbrushes for wide receivers. Indiana, and they just haven't played with wide receivers or someone like not Lane Kiffin, but Lincoln Riley, who can play call like that. That's what USC has, and that's what Ohio State has. And I believe that when you watch that game against USC that Notre Dame had, man, it was eye opening. It was eye popping because I didn't remember the game really. I was like, no, I know it was close, but let me go back and watch how it went down and I wanted to see how they did against those wide receivers of USC. And I even forgot that Maeva had started that game, or not started, but played that game. And man, they were tearing that man coverage up of Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't get a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't look like they get a lot of pressure. It doesn't look like they got a lot of sacks. This past season, this past season. I think that when you have Will Howard and you have Emeka Egbuka, you have Carnell Tate, you have G. Scott, you have Jeremiah Smith. Brandon Ennis has been, we don't talk about it a lot, but Brandon Ennis has been great when he's gotten in this season. And then you look at Ryan Day calling the plays, Chip Kelly being able to maneuver around the offensive line and its struggles because of injuries and what have you. I think Ohio State is able to go out there and really early just show that they can beat that man coverage. That's going to send Notre Dame into a whirlwind. Put them right in hell. That's what it's going to do. And so, I'm very interested to see if something has to give eventually for each of these teams, and so especially for Notre Dame in this. Number 4 is Notre Dame QB protection. Now, stick with me here because sometimes I might even confuse myself while reading these numbers. So during the season, Notre Dame gave up sacks 5.5% of the time. That's pretty good. That's actually really good. In the last 3 games, so the playoffs, that has boosted from 5.5 to 9.47, so basically 9.5%. Now, if you need to try, there's only one way to really understand what those numbers mean. Because maybe they don't sound that bad. Maybe they don't. But then you listen to this. This is Ohio State's defensive line. During the season, they were sacking quarterbacks at 11.06% of the time. I believe that was first or second in college football at that point. In their last 3, they're up to 12.5. So you can imagine what that means for Notre Dame. They've had some offensive line problems like we have had when it comes to injuries with names here: Knapp, Spindler, Jagzon. I'm trying to pronounce that name. But it's not that I think Notre Dame would make any excuses for their offensive line the same way I don't believe Ohio State fans are. But Ohio State's offensive line, for comparison, they've been struggling in run blocking, but we haven't given much on the pass block side. We've been very, very, I would say, good to great in that space. again, I think there's a few non-negotiables for Notre Dame in this game, for them to be in this game at least. Your offense, it has to be damn near perfect. I think that when you look at Notre Dame's offense and you see that your quarterback protection has gone down. Now, luckily, you don't throw the ball a lot, so you're not putting your quarterback in that many dangerous situations. But even though you do run them a lot, so I guess take one for the other. It's better to make yards and lose yards. So you have that. You're also talking about leaning on your run game going against, yes, Indiana statistically is the best run defense in the country. Ohio State is the best run defense in the country. It is. So you're going up against that. You're going up against one of the best tackling and run defense linebacker units. You're going up against one of the best run defense units in the secondary. You got to play perfect. And when I see things like this, when I see stats like this, I look at Notre Dame's offense. I'm like, where do you get it from? Say you have a short field. Even when you get to the red zone, because it's hard to score in the red zone. Where do you get it? How many? I guess I would ask you guys, how many passes does Notre Dame have to throw to be in this game? I think that's a good question if the running game isn't there. And then my last one. Turnover margin for Notre Dame. So, all right. I got my buddy Ryan Fravel of Notre Dame. He'll actually be on the Scarlet and Blue show tomorrow. So if you like, tune into that with myself and my co-host Bryce Sack. Now he said that the way he thinks, he had Notre Dame winning 24-21, and he said that he thinks that they're gonna force the turnovers. And I got on him because I said, dude, forcing turnovers is not it's not something you look at and say that's why we're going to win the game, because you don't know if the turnovers are actually going to happen on a play-by-play basis. But I do want to point out Notre Dame is fourth in turnover margin this year. They've been very good, very. They take the ball from you a lot. I think that in a game like this, and let's go to the Texas game. Will Howard had about 4 passes that were he beamed them in there. But I was very worried and very scared because I think those are passes that Notre Dame probably could have picked off. Now, do I think Notre Dame's secondary is better than Texas? No. Maybe those are just really good darts by Will Howard. At the same time, you gotta watch those throws, and it is I think if we're being honest here, Will in about every game has maybe 1 or 2 plays that are what the hell? You're just kind of looking at your screen with your hands in your head, wondering what was Will thinking, and but I do believe that Ohio State can't turn the ball over in this game. They do maybe once, twice is too much. Now, we did that against Penn State. We were still in the game. We still won that game, came back from 10-0. At the same time, though, this is not one of those moments that you can do that. I mean, that wasn't either. But now we're at the national championship. You're at the last game of the year, last college game for a lot of these guys. Last time they put on the Buckeye uniform. You can't go out there. Last time Will's going to put on the Buckeye uniform. You can't go out there and put your team in harm's way. I'm not worried about, let's say, Judkins or Travion fumbling. Those two have one fumble all season. That was against Oregon way back. It was a strip, actually. Outside of that, they hadn't this season. So it's on Will to make sure he keeps the ball. I mean, it's cliche, but it's real. It's true. I think Emeka is going to be the leading receiver for this game. Actually, no, I'll stay away from that. I'll speak more about that tomorrow on Scarlet and Blue show. But Yeah, those are the 5 stats I have. The ones that I believe are very important to this game. A couple more that I'll give to you guys. Notre Dame versus the run this season. 42.5 success rate. That's 90th in the country. Just bad. And my guy Rod has been here the whole time, so I want to bring him in here real quick. Let's see. Yeah, USD put up 557 total yards on Notre Dame. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. And I think also a lot of that had to do with the fact that USC can't play defense, so maybe Notre Dame was scoring faster than they thought they would or even wanted to. But on the flip, so you kept putting the USC offense on the field. But on the flip side of that, you kept giving that up. I mean, shoot. I mean, hey, Rod, we watched Ohio State go up against Oregon, one of the best offenses in the country. We kept scoring fast. They didn't. So yeah, it's I'm very interested to see what they do about it. Will has improved so much over the course of the season, but he's still awful at zone reads. Yeah, he is, but he keeps it rather than. Oh man, Travion had a touchdown against Texas, and it was literally, not figuratively, literally taken away from his quarterback Will Howard. That was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, he needs to get better at that. I think sometimes Will plays a little hero ball, and it is what it is. He had to, not terribly put us in, very bad situations. Sometimes our coaches haven't really just put us in by themselves. But yeah, and yes, that was Quinshawn. That was Quinshawn. All right, everybody. Well, I'm gonna get out of here again. I appreciate you all for watching. If you have any questions or if you have any comments of the statistics that I gave you guys, please put it in the comments. We'd love to have it there. Again, coming on Thursday, we have the call-in show with me and Ryan Stano, my co-host. It should be a good time. Looking forward to talking to you all. And as always, OHIO.